Hello, friends. Glad you could join us. Welcome to the Streets of the Principality. It's Monaco, here for another edition of the CCRL Elite/Wednesday tier, whatever they're calling it now. Guess what? I'm still here either way. We are under the lights in Monaco for what should be a fantastic 7th round of this season. We are almost, I would say, officially halfway through the season out of 15 rounds. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Only 13 on the grids, but I do believe we are getting another very shortly. That man being... Big Man Ryle, though saying he'll be home in 15 minutes. It's not totally helpful, but anyways, we've got about 17 minutes in this qualifying session. 13 cars on the grid. We're hoping for more at some point, but usually I won't record qualifying. I'll be honest with you. There's a very simple reason why. It's because it's easier to upload one clip than trying to edit two, and take that much time. It's during work tomorrow to find a minute to be able to edit and then upload on my boss's internet. Usually it's just kind of just fine to go ahead, take the clip off the PlayStation, put it onto my phone, and then upload it onto the YouTube from there. However, because it's Monaco, because this is the most important qualifying session, most likely of the season, we are going to be going along with our 13, eventually potentially 14 cars on the grid. Curveball 1993 appears to be the first driver out on track for this qualifying session. He is joined immediately by, R. Manson and DWCJ, as well as the Alpine of Merck as well. We'll go along with Curveball here. This is going to be one of those races today where, it may turn into a podcast for all I know, but let me tell you something. If last week in Brazil was anything like what we're about to see here, well, goodness me, you might be in for a show. Well, Curveball 1993 about to be the first driver round the circuit and starting his timed attempt. So, cars going round track, qualifying beginning, cars going fast. That sounds like it's time to open a cold one to me. Oh yeah, fantastic. Down the pit straight, heading into Saint-Devat. No heroics into Saint-Devat. Well, that might be the opposite of what our drivers do tonight. And up the hill, going through Beau Rivage and in towards the left-hander at Massenet. It's a little bit of a difficult one, this, because as the car naturally wants to push to the outside, there's not a lot of room there. Into the right-hander at Casino, and then down the straight, heading in towards Mirabeau, and eventually the hairpin after that. Avoid the tree root on the way into Mirabeau. Take that corner on the inside like you've done, and then into the hairpin. One of the only corners on the schedule in which you'll go a true first gear. Through Portier, exiting there, bit of slippage on the back end, that's normal, trying to get the power down as much as you can, through the tunnel, and then in towards the worst chicane in Formula 1, the Neuville chicane. That's a tree I will die on there, or a hill I will die on, because there's absolutely no way that chicane needs to exist. Heading into Tabac now. Could be a fun one, this. Lots of cars usually find wing damage through there. Going into Louis Chiron, and eventually the swimming pool here. Exits the corner, heading now in towards Rascasse and Anthony Nogues. The final couple of corners coming up now. That first one in the Rascasse is difficult, and Anthony Nogues as well, as because that barrier on the outside does creep up on you a little bit more than the other ones. Only the one DRS zone here. Across the line until 111.554 for that of Curveball. Next up round, we did say it was going to be that of Manson. Let's see what he puts together. 111.392. That has cleared Curveball by a number I can't produce in my head. About a tenth and a half. So a good lap there. We also have, it appears, Rapid Rhymer, or just regular Rhymer, if you were anywhere, if you've known him beforehand. 110.883 for DWCJ goes top of the table by about, again, another tenth and a half over his teammate, a Merck, who has gone second. It looks like potentially, I was going to say a tow was being performed there, but that's not necessarily true. The car behind has actually gone slower, just by a little bit. That puts Manson back by half a second now, and up through the line. Coming up next is that of Angry Walrus. Across the line for him, pole, 110.700. Gets DWCJ by about 0.2 of a second. It's, it's very tight for the time being. We'll have to wait and see if it stays that way. We've got Johnny Damon, the Lone Sauber, on the grid, coming through the final paces of the lap now, exiting Anthony Nogues and down and heading towards across the line. This is looking a pretty good lap here from him. And he'll go second, 110.774. About, 3/4 of a tenth behind Angry Walrus for the top spot. Well, already lots of competition there amongst the top. Bongit goes 8th, about 4.5 seconds off the pace. Next up is going to be one of the Aston Martins, who has either invalidated or is not on track. Reimer has gone into the pit lane. King Pro player. Next round the line, medium tires for him. Interesting choice. Across the line is, well, he's gone 5th. 1:11.146. Not a bad lap, especially on those medium tires. 4.5 tenths of a second off. He's rather inserted himself there amongst the front runners. Very nicely done. Got the V-Carb of Pontiac Bandit coming around the final stage of the lap now. I don't believe this is going to be a lap to hold on to, but maybe will he begin a new one here. Going through Saint-Nevat and up the hill through Beau Rivage and Massenet after that. Could often, at least on that first lap, we could see moves into Massenet here. It's, you know, it's wide enough to go side by side on that first lap. I doubt we're really going to see much anyways. Maybe up through Beau Rivage we'll see an odd car go side by side. Other than that, yeah, really not going to see much overtaking. It is Monaco after all. That's why we're recording the qualifying session, because this is, once again, the most important of the season. Got the Red Bull of Agnote making his way into the corner next, I believe. That is Bongit, who's invalidated. Agnote about 6/100 slow through Sector 1. Exits Portier now, back on the throttle, and down in through the tunnel under the lights as well. This looks so beautiful. I wish we could do this in real life. Through the Neuville chicane. Tell you what, he's held it pretty well. No complaints there. On my end, heading through Tabac, maybe a little bit slow, but he's gone for safety. He is down by about 2 tenths of a second, so not looking good for Agnote this time. We'll have to wait and see if he's able to improve in future laps. Johnny Damon on a lap as well, heading out of the tunnel in towards the Neuville chicane. Let's see if he's able to find a clean go. Oh, absolute precision through there. Belter of a chicane that, going through Tabac and across the line. Purple by 10.5 through Sector 2, through the swimming pool section now. Goodness me, look how quick he's going. This could be not only just provisional pole, but this looks like a type of lap where it could just remain pole for the rest of the session. Maybe a little bit slow going out of Anthony Nogues. It's kind of what it looked like to me. But across the line for Johnny Damon, 1:10.479 improves and gets Angry Walrus now by 2 tenths of a second and goes to the top. DWCJ on an out lap here, 11 minutes remaining, 4 tenths of a second behind. Kind of difficult. Well, that's not necessarily true. You can make up 4 tenths of a second on this track. There's nothing really wrong with that. It's being able to make up 4 tenths of a second and then keep it cleanly enough to have that actually play out. Because where you improve in one section of the track, you're almost guaranteed to make a mistake in 3 other. Certainly what it feels like driving through here, and I'm sure that's what's Pontiac Bandit, I believe, getting back going here. It does appear to be on the medium tire, so we'll be seeing another attempt here from him. Oh, going through the first sector looks slow. Reimer, purple Sector 2, as he makes his way in towards Anthony Nogues. Now this will be his first timed attempt on the schedule, and he is getting that tow from the Aston Martin ahead. 1:10.189. Gets Johnny Damon by nearly 3 tenths of a second and to the top. Goes Rapid Reimer. Well, apparently that's his nickname. That's new. And either way, well, you can give yourself a nickname if it's absolutely true, and that one's as true as it gets. Well, just when you thought Johnny Damon was going to have the time to beat, Reimer's absolutely, nearly immediately gone and done that in. That's actually rather impressive. Pontiac Bandit making his way out of Portier through the tunnel now. Not too sure how this time's going to be. We'll see his time coming out of Tabac here in a little bit through the chicane. He's done quite well. Maybe a little slow through that first little section, but let's see. Through Tabac. Pushes a little wide. Is quicker by about 7/100, so, pretty good. Oh, I was going to say, well, up until that bit of a moment, that was one of the cleaner goings of the swimming pool section that we've seen. And unfortunately, he's lost any advantage that he's had, and Pontiac Bandit into the pit lane. DWCJ through the tunnel now, heading in towards the Neuville chicane as well. Soft tires for him. Whether or not these are fresh, yes, they are fresh medium tires. 9 minutes remaining now. Once again, about 7/100ths better through Sector 2. But it's taken a lot of the curb going through the swimming pool. I think that must have hurt him. Back on the throttle, killing those pit board workers then. Across the line, 4 tenths of a second improvement, goes up to second. Gets Johnny Damon by 1/100th. For the time being, Angry Walrus is going to be starting a timed lap here, it seems. I'm going to get away from that. That's about as laggy as it gets right there. Well, no, I'm... Well, I was going to say it was on a time lap. Certainly doesn't appear to be. I think maybe is a... I mean, I don't even know. I know my connection isn't good, but goodness me, that car is jumping around more than the House of Pain. Let's go along with Merc then, going in towards the tunnel. This appears to be a timer for him. Rapid Rhymer, 109.742. Once again goes, stays actually at the top. Now, by 7.5 tenths of a second. Quick. Anyways, Merc going through Tabac now. He'll be up to the... Ooh, he's made a bit of a... I'm not going to say a hash to the corner, but he has hit the wall on the outside. Still a tenth and a half quicker. Taking the swimming pool, actually, quite cleanly then. Through Raskas. Closest to the inside. Didn't quite get a good line through that corner. Anthony Nogues was much better. And across the line does he go. Does improve by nearly 0.3 of a second, only 5th. And now Curveball will actually go second. 1:10.264 improves by, oh, by the way, nearly 1.3 seconds has now entered the mix there. 7 minutes remaining. Angry Walrus, who I believe is going to be starting one now. I don't even know. King Pro Player making his way through Anthony Nogues now. Back on the loud pedal he goes. Let's see where this is going to put him. I think he's going to be maybe about a half second behind here. Well, I was wrong. 109.814. Down by 0.7 of a second back to Reimer. And I'll apologize now to King Pro Player for rather underestimating him there. It's not necessarily that I thought he was having a bad lap, but usually, at least as a commentator, right, and you've seen this many time laps now, you can kind of tell when a lap is going to be slow or quick. I did not think King Pro Player was going to have that great of a lap there when I saw him exit Anthony Nogues. I kind of thought he was at that time where it was like, oh, you know, going to be a respectable lap. Didn't think it was going to be all that close. That is fantastic for King Pro Player. And once you know it, the Silvereros on top. 6 minutes remaining here. Curveball appears to be beginning another one here through Sandoval. Up the here through Beau Rivage and in towards Massenet. He's got clear track ahead of him, which is very good on the circuit, let's not forget. Casino up next. Avoid the tree root on the inside. There he goes. He's done that very nicely. About a tenth and a half quicker through Sector 1. That'll do him good there. For the time being, looking like he could challenge Angry Walrus. He's gone a little bit wide on the exit of the hairpin, though. Usually, sometimes we'll see drivers go wide on the way in and then exit on the left, and he's actually done the opposite. He's gone very deep into the corners, exited a little wider. This might be a slow second sector for Curveball. Into the Nouvelle Chicane. Over the first part pretty well. I think there's not really a good way to take that chicane now, is there? Over the timing line, does improve by 0.2 of a second. Okay, so he is really on here to potentially take that third spot. This is where he made the mistake before, going through the swimming pool. He's done it very well. In towards Raskas now. Avoids the barrier on the inside. Sometimes you'll see drivers clip the tires. Oh, has he made a hash of Anthony Nogues then? He very well could have. Across the line for Curveball, and he does only improve by a tenth and a half, and you have to believe it was just that last corner that has sold the clip there for Curveball. I think he was off to a fantastic lap, and it was really only Anthony Nogues where he made a visible mistake. With 4.5 minutes remaining, he's got to get back in and get out immediately if he wants to find another set of tires. Johnny Damon has just improved. He's up to 6th now. He's actually within, 11 one-thousandths of a second. Between himself and DWCJ. DW about to be on a time lap now. We've only got a handful of drivers out on track. Hemphead being one of them, heading in towards Raskas now. Does not appear to be finishing this lap. Into the pit lane, we have currently 3 drivers out on track. Sorry, 4, as now the Red Bull of Owa making his way out, as well as the other of the Alpines, Merc. So currently the top 7 cars all within a second of each other. That's pretty good. Should be a fun little battle here in towards Saint-Navat. We'll have to wait and see if my estimations are correct on that front. Top 4 into the pit lane. If I'm Reimer right now, King Pro Players put in an absolutely brilliant lap, but I'm not sure how much more time can be made up here. Where has he lost only 7/100ths of a second? Now, this is what's interesting to me, because as a commentator, time and time again, I have talked about Reimer. One of those drivers Likes the extra downforce, you know. One of the drivers, we saw that in Brazil as well. He was a driver that, you know, we kind of thought it maybe a little bit slower on the straights. Had a heck of a time going through the back end of Sector 1 in towards Sector 2 and the beginning of 3. Driver we thought was going to excel, and did. That is not an excuse he can use anymore. Not tonight. Everybody's running max wings. We can almost guarantee that. I'd be more surprised if they're not. Only really 2 tracks on schedule you're going to run max wings. It's this, maybe 3. This one, Hungary, and Zandvoort are the only ones I can think about where you're going to be running this high a wing. So I think this is about probably as close as we're going to have to an equal setup night, really. Angry Orchard, if you're listening to this and you'd like to sponsor me, go right ahead. Help me get internet, Angry Orchard. That'd be fantastic. Johnny Damon beginning a final lap here. 2-minute warning for the CCRL Elite tier. Mind you, coming up in the next couple of weeks here, we do have a couple of fun ones here. Next time out will be the Imola circuit for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, round number 8. Sprint race weekend as well. That should be fantastic. 90 seconds remain in the session. Johnny Damon making his way through Portier. Oh, a little bit wide there on the exit, but I think he's held the speed okay enough. Only 4 drivers. Oh, holy crap, did you see that? That Aston Martin there of, who was that? Was that Angry Walrus? Has absolutely slammed on the brakes. DWCJ has binned it somewhere along the line. But goodness me, that has absolutely thwarted the efforts then of Johnny Damon, I think. Because God almighty. Absolutely slamming on the brakes then was Angry Walrus as he is into the braking zone in towards the Neuville chicane. So the line goes Johnny Damon, he's slower by 5/100ths of a second. You have to think that the Aston Martin of Walrus is responsible for that, because that was a horrendously close call. But he still has enough time for one more attempt through Massenet, through Casino, heading into Mirabeau now. 2.5 slower through Sector 1. Johnny Damon, and what I think was potentially on for pole. Yeah, not going to happen now. Angry Walrus, I think that's at 7/1000 slower. Sector 1. I can't even go along with him here. Is that jumping around that badly? Reimer up the hill through Beau Rivage in towards Massenet, his teammate, a King Pro player, following behind. We have a yellow flag, it seems. Johnny Damon is decided to take the expressway around the circuit. Quite honestly, that's what I would have chosen to do. Again, worst chicane in Formula 1. Along with that with Spain, we fixed that one. Spain is gone, that chicane. Miami, that one is terrible. The one in Hungary, also awful. And there's one other on that list that I'm forgetting about that is just so obnoxious. Reimer in towards the Neuville chicane now, has handled it very well. Exits and heads towards to back. His teammate, a King Pro player, I think got away a little bit slower that time. Half a second quicker still? Are you serious, man? Oh, smack the wall on the outside. That's usually a way to do it. Good old Ross Chastain action there. Wall riding, getting yourself a good time. You already know. Exits Anthony Nogues, Reimer, and across the line he goes. How about it? It's a 109.087. That is wacky. The King Pro player to the line, actually, in fairness to him, improves by 2.5 of a second. Gets within half a second of Rapid Reimer, and once again, the Silver Arrow is on top, and that's going to be your grid. Mercedes 1 and 2, Walrus 3rd, DWCJ 4th, Curveball 5th, Damon 6th. Pontiac Bandit 7th, and it looks as if we've had at least maybe 1 or 2 drivers join. That would be fantastic. There's the starting grid once again. Silver Arrows on top, Walrus 3rd, DWCJ 4th, Curveball 5th. Johnny Damon, who we thought probably could have gone 3rd had he not been interrupted there by Angry Walrus. That's my guess, at least. Pontiac Bandit 7th, Merc 8th, Manson 9th, Owa 10th, the pair of the Ferraris on row 6, Onyo Tate 13th, and then Big Man Rye didn't get the chance to put together a time, but he has joined the grid, and will start at the back. It's interesting because at this track, you're almost also better off starting either at the front or at the back. So Big Man Rye could have an advantage, but Silver Arrow's on top. I mean, who else, right? So coming into tonight, let's have a look at the driver and constructor standings at this halfway point in the season. Oh, wow. So Johnny Damon, that's interesting. So the Aston Martin that interrupted Johnny Damon's flying, apparently that was his AI as his game has crashed. Oh, I didn't know that. Once again, let's go over our driver and constructor standings after Brazil. Last time out, Reimer, of course, atop the table by 40 points over that of his teammate, a King Pro player. DWCJ in third, behind by 72. It'll be Charlie Golf fourth, Curveball fifth, Merck sixth, I believe that's R. Manson in seventh. It says Old and Slow on the thing. I definitely forget who it is. I'll be fair with you. Old and Slow seventh, John the Prince eighth, 019, Sepulveda rounds out the top 10. As far as the constructors are concerned, Mercedes topped the table 150 points back to the Alpines. It'll be McLaren in third, the V-Carbs in fourth, Red Bull fifth, Aston Martin sixth, the Willies in seventh. They've actually, I believe, gone up a position since last week. No, they've stayed the same. The Willies are still in seventh. Sauber in eighth, Ferrari in ninth, and then the Haas in 10th. So, once again, Monaco, under the lights, 14 cars. Halfway decently competitive qualifying session. Let's ignore the fact that Reimer's at top of the table by half a second. If we can look past that, it's a halfway decently competitive grid back there. We got a lot of cars in good positions with each other. Well, we're at it as well. Let's give our thoughts and prayers to Charlie Golf's mother. Hope she has a speedy recovery. Once again, the next three here, we have Emilia-Romagna, Imola. Next time out, the sprints as well. October 30th, the night before Halloween, we go to Japan. Then November the 6th, round number 10, we head to Miami. Should be a fantastic race, that. Oh, so that's interesting. Assuming the United States is a country after November the 5th, in what will be Election Day, as America decides a president the day before, CCRL will decide the winner of the Miami Grand Prix. Assuming we're still a country by... I don't even know, man. Sometimes you just gotta wonder. Sometimes you gotta wonder about the threads that are holding us together. At first, seemed as if this country was held together by Flex Seal, and now it seems to be held together by a couple of strings of dental floss, but who knows? Just waiting for these cars to appear on the grid, and we can get going for 39 laps of the Monaco Street Circuit, the Principality. The track that is respected, feared, tamed, untamed, kind of a lot of drivers struggle on this track. One of the circuits you think about in motor racing, you think about motor races, you think about Monaco, you really do. Is it the best circuit in the world? No. Is it the most historic? Yeah, I'd say so. Is it one of the most important? Yes, I'd also say so. Does it still belong in an F1 calendar? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. What bugs me is the fact that there probably could be... Oh, hey, never mind. Here we go. We'll get to that later. 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 lights on in the Principality. Mercedes on the front row, and they are away. Heading in towards No Heroics into Sandoval. We'll see how long that lasts. Side by side, up into the corner. Reimer gets away well. DWCJ appears to have gotten around Angry Walrus, who seems to be ghosted. As they make their way back, Walrus does appear to have struggled on this opening lap as they make their way up through Beau Rivage and in towards Massenet. Most of them seem to have gotten away okay. It appears Hemphead has had somewhat of an error there. No front wing missing. Oh, King Pro Player's gone round. The contact made with somebody there. We've got pieces of front wing from at least the Mercedes, as I believe as well. Who was that that's left the session? Apparently Angry Walrus. Goodness me, so much happening here. King Pro Player has now tucked his wing underneath DWCJ. Front wings missing for at least 3 or maybe 4 drivers here. Let's see. King Pro Player missing the end plate on, I believe... Well, actually, it doesn't appear that he is. Wow, that's a little surprising, to tell you the truth. King Pro Player not missing any wing. DWCJ missing the wing on the right side. Curveball as well. This camera angle's just not going to help us, is it? Through Tabac, in towards Luis Chiron, and in towards the swimming pool after that. So... DWCJ missing front wing, curveball missing front wing. I think Johnny Damon might be in that as well. Johnny Damon does not appear to be missing any front wing, but let's see how long that lasts. We are at Monaco after all, and I believe there it goes. Somebody has already hit something back there. 2 drivers into the pit lane, DWCJ and curveball after that first lap. Not even necessarily heroics into Saint-Navat, but there was an absolute rugby scrum of a race going in towards coming out of Massenet at a casino and then down the hill, and I think we even had some collisions going on at Tabac, potentially. Big Man Rye missing a hefty chunk of his front wing despite being up 7 positions, 2 of which I'm assuming being with the pit stops, but he is missing a lot. I think maybe they all just stack up there going in through the corner. That would have been my guess, because there's no way that these drivers, missing wing with all of each other. Now, you know what I mean? Sometimes, as Angry Walrus appears to be well off the pace now, sometimes we'll look at cars and we'll just see front wing after front wing missing. We didn't really see this many cars missing front wing. We have to assume it's some sort of accordion effect that's taken place. But Big Man Rye, does he have a look at R. Manson here into Tabac? That would have been fantastically incredible, but it's not happened. Through Luis Chiron, through the swimming pool coming up now. There's your tire strategies, 22 to 38, hards to mediums. Reimer, however, started on the softs. I would assume he's going to be going soft to hard here. One of only 2 drivers to be on the softs, himself and King Pro Player, the only 2. Everybody else has gone hard, except for the Alpine and the Haas, who've gone medium. Big Man Rye, oh, look at this, round the outside of R. Manson, going through Saint-Navat, up through Beau Rivage, through Massenet, up to 6. This guy absolutely going for it here, Big Man Rye. DWCJ into the pit lane now for what I believe is now his 2nd pit stop here. No, I might be wrong about that. Yeah, it is his 2nd stop. I was right. So he's lost an additional front wing compared to the one he had already lost the lap before. By the way, 36 laps to go. Ugh, goodness me, that is so unfortunate for DWCJ. We might have an interesting one here. Pontiac Bandit about half a second behind Merck. This is currently the closest battle on track as they make their way through Tabac. Fantastic camera angles this. I'm just wondering which of these drivers do have wing damage. Pontiac Bandit does not appear to have any. Merck does have some on the end plate on the right side. That will hurt him. But I say that, for the time being, he's actually gaining time on Johnny Damon. Don't ask me how that works. Look at this, R. Manson, Big Man Rye into the pit lane as, we can assume is now in to fix his front wing. Remember, he was missing a hefty bit on the left front. Yeah, there it is, a lot of damage. So a new front wing for the Haas, which is unfortunate because the hell of a start that he had, up 7 positions. I think genuinely maybe 5 on track, 2 of which into the pit lane, and then unfortunately he's just lost it all. Except for 2. Still 12th. In towards Portier now. Pontiac Bandit about 6.5 tenths of a second behind Merck. We have a yellow flag. Big Man Rye has DNF'd up the hill. That is not gone well at all. And that is exiting Casino. Slightly odd place to have gone off. Let's see, this is Massenet now. The Haas has not been cleared quite yet. There it is, off to the outside. He's, what I'm assuming is clobbered the wall there. Either that or he's, well, yeah, I think maybe he's taken some oversteer, or maybe he's hit the wall on the inside and then has gone back to the other way around. That's very unfortunate either way. Big Man Rye, the driver who was initially looking like he was going to have a hell of a day up that many positions in the early goings, unfortunately, has been the first to bite the dust here under the lights of the Principality. Up the hill through Beau Rivage and ending towards Massenet now. Owa about a second behind Bongit going through said Massenet corner. Next up is Casino, where we just saw the Haas go off. Still kind of wondering how he's done that there. It's not like he's gone straight on through past the braking zone at Casino. He's actually gone slightly down, exiting the corner. So I don't know. Yeah, I just genuinely don't know what's happened there. It's very odd. Curveball has gotten around Agnote. I'm not actually sure. Is Agnote in the session? The car is ghosted. Yeah, I don't really know what the deal is with that, but either way. Oh, look at this! Well, though I've only just gotten on with that, but Bongit has clobbered the barrier on the inside of the Neuville chicane and has nearly taken Owa with him. I'm hoping the Red Bull doesn't have any wing damage, because he has absolutely stopped on a dime, given himself 9 cents change, has backed it in, and has gotten directly in the way of Owa. And yeah, he does have damage on the left front side. What a very unfortunate turn of events there. Thankfully, for that of Bonga, he doesn't appear to have actually that bad damage. He is... no, never mind, I lied. He does have a lot missing on the front. You know, usually when we see cars go in towards the Neuville chicane like that and they make contact with the barrier, it's on the way in the turn, and they're clipping the left rear tire. That's actually not what's happening there. He's either... he's probably just turned in too early, and the car's immediately swung around and into the path of the Red Bull. So unfortunate. Remember making his way through to back here. It looks as if King Pro player... Well, I thought King Pro had wing damage. Oh, goodness me. He's almost completely lost the car going over to back that time. That one got close there. It appears that Owa has been our first penalty victim of the day. He's picked up 3 seconds of penalty for multiple warnings. It appears we do have a very spread out grid at this stage of the Grand Prix. Minus that of the Ghost of Angry Walrus trying to overtake what appears to be the V-carb of Curveball here. For the sake of viewership of this Grand Prix, we are going to now skip ahead to our next impending important moment. That hasn't happened yet, but I'll definitely pick up on it when it does. It's now Curveball to the inside of Hemphead going in towards turn 8, and that was on the way into Massenet. Oh, and it appears Curveball is actually not going to get away quite well there. I think Hemphead may have just overshot the corner just ever so slightly, and that is... Oh, and look at this! We are... Well, I was going to say side by side. King Pro player to the pit lane. Oh, God, I'm sorry. But they were side by side there. Hemphead went a little bit deep in towards Mirabeau then. That's a loud curveball to the right side. And then into the hairpin they go. Curveball swung around and has taken the position. And now we've got, so that is only just about 5.5 tenths of a second here between Agnote, the Ghost, and that of DWCJ. And look at this now, curveball to the inside of Hemphead going in towards turn 8. And that was on the way into Massenet. Oh, and it appears Curveball is actually not going to get away quite well there. I think Hemphead may have just overshot the corner just ever so slightly. And that is... Oh, and look at this! We are... Well, I was going to say side by side. King Pro player to the pit lane. Oh, God, I'm sorry. But they were side by side there. Hemphead went a little bit deep in towards Mirabeau then. That's a loud curveball to the right side. And then into the hairpin they go. Curveball swung around and has taken the position. And now we've got, so that is only just about 5.5 tenths of a second here between Onyote the Ghost and that of DWCJ. Neuville chicane. Johnny Damon appears to have gone off. He's regained control, but a brief yellow flag moment. Then we do have another one now heading at the hairpin. Curveball has gone round, and yes, he has. So is Owa. 2 cars off of the hairpin, and I'm not really sure what's happened there, but Owa is now, having to perform a 75-point turn to get that car back round in the right direction. Front wing's now missing, as I believe was that curveball as well. Yeah, he's missing a lot of wing on the right side. Has missed the Neuville chicane as well. Lots of front wing being laid to rest already. Laid to rest. Lane, I don't think is a word in that sense. Reimer still holds a 13.5-second advantage over Johnny Damon, who doesn't appear to have had any sort of damage after his moment at the Neuville chicane. He had one just a couple of moments ago. That car seemed to have maybe had a spin or has hit the barriers in some form. Either way, that car has gotten back going, and nothing seems to have gone ridiculously wrong there. But unfortunately for Curveball, something has gone ridiculously wrong here. He's now missing in replacing a front wing. Hemphead seems to be missing front wing on the right end plate, which is not ideal there. Once again, we talk about front wings being very crucial for the downforce of these cars. It also aids braking performance. You know, once the wing blows the air over the tops of the tires, forces them into the ground, that's where the downforce comes from as well. And when you lose that and you lose that amount of pressure, it actually does hinder your braking, causes more lockups, a lot less control. As Johnny Damon takes the lead after Reimer pits from his soft tires to the hards, exits the pit lane. Pontiac Bandit actually could have a good look here at Reimer once his, if he decides to close in any. Reimer's tires will not be up to temperature quite yet. Johnny Damon now only has a 5-second advantage over Merck. Reimer kind of in the picture as well, trying to close in on the Alpine here. Pontiac Bandit also in position. We got ourselves a 3-car battle here for that second spot. Curveball now up to 6 seconds in penalty, having missed somewhere else part of the track, has invalidated track limits once more, I'm afraid. King Pro Player within 7/10 of a second of R. Manson here as they exit Portier. Now within 5/10. DWCJ back to Hemphead as well. We got a couple of good battles going on here. For second place. Rapid Reimer not going to be able to get close that time. Into the chicane they go. King Pro Player all over the back of R. Manson here through the Neuville chicane. Back on the throttle they go. And it appears that as they go through Tabac, this battle is going to kind of hold itself at bay for now. In through the hairpin. DWCJ back to Hemphead. One by one they go, going through Portier, and it appears DWCJ may have a good look here as they get on the throttle. That Alpine looking close, overtake being used. Look at this. Maybe is he going to try the right? No, he's going to try the left. Into the braking zone, and he's backed out of it. Oh, but Hemphead's gone deep into the braking zone. Oh, that's interesting there, because Hemphead has missed that corner and has kind of parked it on the apex, trying not to actually get a track limits warning, and that has prevented DWCJ from actually being able to make the move. That's really odd, that. Heading now in towards the hairpin. Reimer's going to go a little bit deep there, maybe under pressure from Pontiac Bandit if he's not careful. Also behind, we do have this battle. 0.3 of a second between King Pro Player and R. Manson. Making their way, heading in towards Portier now. Reimer within 2.5 of a second of Merck as they go into the Neuville chicane. Onto the brakes they go. And Reimer, this is his first actual attempt of having to be within traffic here. King Pro Player looking for the left side, and he's got it. Beautiful overtake. How do you like that? In towards the Neuville chicane. Nicely done, King Pro Player. And maybe do we see some of that similar action with DWCJ and Hemphead as they make their way into the hairpin now. That was a brilliant move from King Pro Player. One of the very few genuine on-track overtakes we've had. As which is, you know, standard with Monaco. It's not to the fault of the grid. I mean, that just happens. Going through the tunnel now, and I have to believe that as we're starting to see some of these guys on the older hard tires. Oh, wow, I tell you what, DWCJ nearly completely went clean through the back of Hemphead there. That one got quite sketchy, had to be said. 3 out of the top 4 now within only about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds of each other here. It's looking pretty good amongst these 3. Merc leads the queue here. Reimer behind by about 0.5 seconds. Pontiac Bandit behind them. 3 seconds of penalty Pontiac Bandit has. Bit of a slide there getting on the throttle for Reimer. 0.3 seconds and trying to close. And now, in through... Sorry to cut away from that. Up through San Nevada, up through Beau Rivage, and heading into Massenet. 1/10 second here between these two. DWCJ really pressuring Hemphead here. I think realistically, if he gets him into the hairpin, there could be a very strong move coming here. Let's see if DWCJ able to look for it on the braking. No, not going to have it. Maybe into the hairpin. No, not quite. I think he's going to have to wait for that Neuville chicane. Maybe. Yeah, he's gone really tight through the apex of the hairpin there. He's not really going to have a look. Reimer trails Merc by about 0.2 seconds. Going up through Beau Rivage. He's not rightly going to be close enough to make a move. It kind of ran out of room, really. So we have a yellow flag. Oh! And just as I go away from it, damn it all to hell, there has been an incident. DWCJ and Hemphead have gotten together, and that Ferrari is lodged in the barriers on the outside. Thankfully off the racing line. I don't believe we're going to need a safety car for that. And, well, unfortunately for Hemphead, has found the end of this session prematurely. And I don't know if there was contact there with DWCJ. I thought they were far, or was it curveball? Either way. No, it was DWCJ. I thought they were far enough away from each other to really not have any risk there. Because it didn't look like they were going to be close enough to battle into the corner. I wasn't really watching along with it. I think maybe what he's done is he's clipped it with his tire. He's not necessarily gone around, but he's absolutely hit that wall on the outside. That's what's caused his DNF. I have to do some Discord investigating. Once again, the absolute second I look away from that. Apologize now to Angry Walrus, I believe. Only just... Got an overtake here. Reimer's gotten around Mercs. Dreadfully sorry to Angry Walrus. Let me see if I can try to invite him. It's probably way too late now. I've only just seen this. I had my eyes on the race, and this was 20 minutes ago. I should be looking at my Discord more kind of like normally, but, you know, I'm sorry. I don't have him friended. I don't think I can go and just add friends here in the menu. Maybe if he's... Maybe do I have him friended on PlayStation? Hold on just a minute. Well, the yellow flag now heading in towards the hairpin. Bongit has done something here. I believe he's maybe gone headfirst into the wall. We're only about halfway through this race. We have King Pro Player within just about 1/10.5 of Pontiac Bandit here. Is going to look for it into the chicane. His second dive of the day into the corner. Brilliantly done from King Pro Player. He is not afraid to go for it. So yeah, once again, we are only about halfway through this session. We will take the moment now, and we will skip ahead to our next potentially interesting moment here. Here in process now for that 7th position, despite the time penalties applied to by Curveball. We got some on-track action here. 0.5 seconds between DWCJ and Curveball. Reimer has just put together the fastest lap of the session, although he is still about 6 seconds behind that of Johnny Damon. Reminder that Johnny Damon is not yet pit. So we're assuming that, as DWCJ, and Curveball into the wall. What's even happened there? Well, they were going through the tunnel, And DWCJ, I think Curveball, did he kind of let DWCJ I don't even know what's just happened. That car was ahead, then was behind, then was in the wall, and now is in 8th with 6 seconds back. I don't even know what's just happened. That was very, very odd. I mean, genuinely, no idea what's just transpired between Curveball and DWCJ. That seems like just such an odd thing to have taken place right there. Now, the front wing being changed, and more importantly now, we do see Johnny Damon in the pit lane. That will make Reimer our leader once again. It will be medium tires, however, for Johnny Damon. Maybe can he eventually make up some time here. He's going to come out, I was going to say close enough to King Pro Player. That doesn't initially appear to be the case. Johnny Damon in 3rd. He'll have a couple of back markers immediately ahead of him, including, not Pontiac Bandit, he's in the pit lane, including that of Curveball. And I think maybe we've got Angry Walrus not up the road that far either. Armant's into the pit lane. Will be medium tires for him, it appears. Hards for mediums. There you go. So it is currently 4.5 tenths of a second between Bonga and Owa here. 3 seconds of penalty, obviously, for Owa. But we're going to go along with this anyways. Down the straight. Oh, and we got King Pro Player gone from the session. He's retired. He's binned it into the chicane. Oh, goodness me. So similar to what Hebhead did. That is a very unfortunate moment there for King Pro Player. Unexpected, to say the least. And I'm not, again, just not sure what's happened. But that is a total bummer there. Once again, thankfully, it appears he's off the racing line. We won't have a safety car for that, but goodness me. We are down to 11. Owa within 9.5 tenths of a second of Bonga here. Once again, these two, we do have penalties to be applied here. 3 seconds extra for Owa, although Bonga, I'm assuming, just one mistake and it could happen. Almost some contact there. We got Curveball trying to find his way around the... not Curveball, sorry. That's Pontiac Bandit trying to find his way around the pair of the back markers here. DWCJ now picking up that spot. Pontiac Bandit still in 4th. Reimer does have, as we do have now, finally, that move being made. Owa getting around Bonga after all. We do now have Reimer atop the table, about 11 seconds clear of Johnny Damon, who's going at it with a bit of a back marker here of, I believe, is that it's not Armanson, it's that of Angry Walrus. Now up to 7th. Bonga about a second away from Owa. Excited for the United States Grand Prix this weekend. Austin, Texas. As Angry Walrus into the pit lane. Now, for me, you would assume, oh, hey, you're an American. That's a home race, that. Austin, Texas is literally on the other side of the country. Montreal, Quebec, Canada is closer for me. So I feel no attachment to this race at all. That one or Vegas. Although, I will say, I have been to Vegas. That was pretty cool. As we do have a yellow flag at the Rascasse, and it appears Bongit has driven it into the fence on the outside. Is missing a bit of the front wing. He will pull into, I would assume, replace the front wing, potentially even retire, but Reimer leading the way here. It's interesting as an American F1 fan, it really is, because if you're not, and you think, wow, you've got 3 races, you must really enjoy that. Oh, as we have another yellow flag going on, and it appears that is going to be Angry Walrus into the fence. And what has happened here? Is he stuck? Angry Walrus is stuck against the barriers here. That car is full tilt. And disqualified for being parked in... Well, I wouldn't really call that a dangerous location, but... That car was unable to free itself or something. I don't even know. Yeah, okay. That I didn't expect. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting as an American F1 fan to have all these races. It's fine and dandy, but, I mean, the chances... First of all, the chances of going to see one are slim to none, and then even then, the price alone of getting into these Grand Prix is outrageous. Even Montreal is not cheap. I mean, you go to Montreal maybe Fridays, like $70. right? I mean, $70 gets you seats at a Red Sox. I won't even say good seats, it's just seats at a Red Sox game. We talk about 3-day passes. That's just not even an option. Saturday, I mean, maybe you're gonna pay like probably $100 a ticket, which, you know, I mean, isn't a lot. But then you gotta understand that you're paying, you know, a full tank of gas. It's a 4-hour drive, and then you gotta Canadian money, and then learn French. So $70 a year for Duolingo plus. Which actually, I kind of want to do, tell you the truth, but it's just one of those things where you just don't want to, like, it's just so difficult being an F1 fan, man. It really is. Because there's just no guarantee you're ever going to see these guys on track. There's no guarantee you're ever going to have the money. There's no guarantee you're ever going to have the time. You know, I mean, you think of a track like Montreal, which rains every single year. There's no guarantee they're even going to have the rain. It's like, you think about, like, Spa 2021, I think about that. Because it's like, the one time I'll go up there, they just won't race. And I'll have bought all that tickets for nothing, you know? I guess this is potentially a good time to roll out the podcast. Well, I'll say that. We have a Red Bull off at Casino now. Owa seems to have backed it into the fence there. He's missing the end plate on the left side of that front wing. That seems to have not gone well for him. Reimer's actually lost a little bit of his lead here. He's down to only 6 seconds clear of Johnny Damon. I thought that gap was a lot more not too long ago. We're coming up on 10 laps to go either way. Let's have a look at our baseball scores going on. Hopefully the Mets have... Never mind. Top of the ninth. 7-0. There's 8-0. I mean, yeah, 8-0. Dodgers are beating the Mets by a lot. Which is not what you want to see when you got your, you know, last home game of the trip here, I think. Shohei Ohtani doing things as normal. I mean, the Mets are like the only team I actually like would almost be happy about seeing. As Owa has retired, that is in the pit lane, I believe. If not, I don't believe it is, actually. Coming out of the Rasgas, it must be, because I don't know where else that would be. Is it on the way into the pit lane? That's a little odd. Yeah, I don't even know. But anyway, I think the Mets... First of all, I would love to see a Mets-Yankees World Series. I think that would be fantastic to watch. I mean, that would be the equivalent of... I mean, what's the biggest rivalry in English football? Manchester United, Liverpool? Maybe? I don't know. What else would be up there? Manchester Derby. Arsenal Spurs, Arsenal Chelsea, that's not really a good appeal to. I think historically it's got to be United Liverpool, haven't it? But I mean that's like the equivalent of, well, okay, in this sense, New York versus New York, that would be the Manchester Derby, right? City versus United, that is the biggest. I would argue out of the inter-city derbies like that between Manchester and then the various London ones, I think that is definitely the biggest of them all. But that would be fantastic, and, you know, I have no other teams left. Blue Jays have been out for a while. Colorado, well, we just won't talk about them. The Red Sox, I mean, missed out in, like, the last week of the season. And that's my home team, but I think I know more and enjoy more about the Toronto side. Either way, I think the Mets are the only kind of team I have left. I don't even really like the Mets, just my father likes them. He grew up watching the Mets, so, I mean, I don't know, I guess I'm slightly not attached to them, but it's one of those things, it's like, you know. Anyways, we are within 10 laps to go here. Reimer only has about a 4.5 second lead over Johnny Damon. I think Johnny's medium tire is actually doing quite well here, starting to catch up potentially to Reimer's 17-lap-old hards. That might be something to look out for there. I think First of all, he's got to climb up to him 4.5 seconds away and then find a way to overtake him by the time they get to the end of the race. That's going to take some doing. Let's have a look at Thursday night football. Coming up tomorrow, it will be Broncos Saints. Okay, so that's a match we don't need to see. Fantastic. F1 this weekend, once again, United States Grand Prix. I think in recent years, COTA has given us some fantastic races. I think it's kind of a mid-track, to tell you the truth, but it has provided some fine racing. I would say is, well, you know, this is going to sound awful. I'm more excited for Vegas. I think Vegas is going to absolutely be a fantastic race again. I mean, literally, okay, let's put it this way. If Las Vegas's Grand Prix last year did not have the drama on the Friday, did not absolutely play the hell out of it with all its showmanship and its, like, incredible, just, you know, rock star persona and whatnot, if it didn't do that, that would have been one of the best races of the season. Instead, it's mid because everything else ruined the on-track activities. But I'm very excited for Vegas. I think that's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for Qatar again. And the reason I'm excited for that is because last year, it was basically a health hazard to race there. And now they're going to race there again. Albeit like a week, 2 weeks later in the season. So that's interesting. You know, maybe they'll... maybe they won't all be sick in the car or pass out. You know, because what was the statistic I read? Like over 10 drivers on the grid in the after the race passed out in some sort. Stroll felt unconscious during Qatar Grand Prix. Aston Martin driver Lance Stroll said he was passing out behind the wheel. Esteban Ocon became sick in the car. Logan Sargent obviously had his things. Alexander Albon was treated with heat exposure. I mean, goodness me. I mean, you think about that. That Qatar track is fantastic, though, isn't it? I think it is just, first of all, driving on it in time trial or whatever is just such a fantastic turn of events. I think it is so fun to drive on. But we are getting into the business end of this Grand Prix. And oh, by the way, remember we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago before my podcast started that Johnny Damon was actually closing in on Reimer? Hey, it's happening. 2 seconds away. The lead of the Grand Prix between the Sauber of Johnny Damon, which you're seeing now, and now what you're seeing the Mercedes of Reimer. Now, a second and a half. And the question at hand is this. Reimer, on those hard tires, 20 laps old. Johnny Damon, the 10-lap-old medium tires, all fine and dandy. Are the medium tires going to be wearing quicker sooner than that of the Mercedes? Bong it is backed it in over at Mirabeau, but either way. Are we going to see Reimer's tires fall off at a rate that will make Johnny Damon extra competitive here in the closing stages? Will Reimer's tires fall off enough not only to be extra competitive, but to actually allow Johnny Damon a route around the Mercedes and challenge for the win genuinely on track? That's going to be the question, because I don't believe Johnny Damon's medium tires, first of all, are going to last much longer. Not that they're bad tires, but goodness me, they're going to be 15, 16 laps old at the end of the race, right? Got 5 laps to go next time by. Those tires are already eclipsed 10 laps old. Yeah, 11 laps, so 16 laps old at the end of it. So, I mean, that tells me that those tires are not going to be doing too well. A track where you need grip, where you need acceleration, and you're in a race-winning battle here, potentially. Where, I mean, you just can't have any mistakes. It's a very interesting game to play. Also, let's throw this one out there for Gits and Shiggles. Has Reimer been conserving? Has he been kind of concerned? Because remember, he started this kind of run here with an 11-second gap over Johnny Damon. Are those hards deteriorating that quick, or is Reimer saving up for the last push of the Grand Prix here? It could go either way. Pontiac Bandit trying to close back in on Merck here. We do have a couple of penalties to be shown. Pontiac Bandit, 3 seconds, 6 for DWCJ, 12 for Curveball, 3 for Bong. Once again, the question at hand with 5 laps to go. Can Reimer hold on? Can Johnny Damon attack? It's only 2 seconds the gap here as they make their way through Casino, heading into Mirabeau now, and after that, the hairpin. Reimer, for the time being, does not have that Sauber directly in his mirror. Knows he's behind him, knows he's got 2 seconds advantage. I mean, you look at, first of all, if you're a driver, especially in an F1 game like this, and you have, a 3-second advantage, if you have a 3-second advantage over the car behind you, that is a very, very comfortable place to be. Because you know that you can make a slight mistake, kind of get away with it. You also know that if you make a penalty, you can also kind of get away with it. Reimer, right now, doesn't exactly have that. He's only 2 seconds to the good. So Reimer picks up a time penalty, it could be all over. Now, I will say this, Reimer is still turning some halfway decent laps here, and Johnny Damon is not really closing in at a rate I would assume to threaten Reimer for the time being. Unless Reimer really screws the pooch here, and he decides to have a hell of a mistake. Yeah, it does look to me as if this one, not necessarily could be wrapped up, but, it kind of appears that way. 2.2 seconds the gap, up the hill, through Beau Rivage, heading in towards Massenet. What? Oh, what's this that's happened here? Johnny Damon, something has rather happened. That's what has just happened there? That car has suddenly let off the throttle and is now actually allowed through the Alpine of Merck. That is a very interesting situation we have. That car really, I don't know if that was done on purpose or what that was. Got 2.5 seconds between Pontiac Bandit and Merck. Of course, the penalties are going to come into play as well. Got 3 laps to go at the line this time by. Reimer does lead Johnny Damon by about 4 seconds. This get going now after that mistake or whatever it was by Johnny Damon going up through Beau Rivage last time round. Still 2 seconds the gap. Merck, we're assuming, is going to have a good enough time at trying to stay ahead. Bong, it appears to be pressuring what appears to be the ghost of Agnote. Just a reminder, once again, coming up next week we do have Imola, the Emilia-Romagna Sprint Weekend of the CCRL. Should be a fun one. Hope you tune in for that. So Reimer's got 3 laps to go. Johnny Damon, once again, now behind by 4 seconds. Again, what's happened going up through Beau Rivage and Massenet there? That is a very... I just don't even know. That car slowed so severely. I don't know, maybe it was to allow Merck by? Oh, you know what he could be doing? I don't think it's going to work, but what I think he's doing here is he's trying to allow... sorry, that's not Merck. That's DWCJ, that. Oh. You know what I think he could have been doing there? And that's very interesting. I don't think it's worked at all. But I think because that Alpine was a back marker, was Johnny Damon trying to play a game and getting the DRS off of DWCJ. He's got 2 laps to go. That was actually, now that I think of it, is a very clever idea there from Johnny Damon. I don't think it's going to end up working out here. He's only going to have 1 more trip down the DRS section. But that was a very... I tell you what. How you think of things like that as you're driving about this circuit of all of them? Yeah, that's impressive. I tell you what. Ups to Johnny Damon for being creative there, but I don't really know what that was. If it is what I assume, and he was trying to kind of materialize some DRS, well, then that was brilliant, but it's not planned out that way. Bong, it has gone off, I'm afraid, heading into Louis Chiron. Yeah, he's missing the end plate on the left side of that car, I'm afraid. So now less than 3 seconds the gap, heading into the Neuville chicane for the penultimate time. Reimer leads 2.7 seconds the gap, I would say, to be exact. And that's not true anymore. Now it's back up to about 3. Johnny Damon starting to push, though. Bit late on here, but the Sauber having a good run. Look at positions gained. He's up 4. Merc up 5. Pontiac Bandit up 3. Manson up 4. Agnote up 5. Bong up 3. And I think, again, you have to think about Big Man Rai, who kind of crashed rather early on there. But, I mean, a car that absolutely could have not necessarily contended for a win, but he was up about 7 positions by the time he had actually crashed, which is unfortunate. Remember, he crashed exiting Casino there in very odd fashion. But into the hairpin for the final time is Reimer, who hasn't necessarily had this race to himself. But, well, it was Bong. It's picking up an additional 3-second penalty. You have to say for Reimer, it's been another masterclass tonight. I think as far as strategy is concerned, as far as playing it safely, he's done everything that he's needed to do. I don't even believe he's hit the wall tonight. Cue commentary curse now. I don't even believe he's raced the Armco barrier on the outside one time tonight. He's done so fantastic. Actually effortless. Now making his way into Rascasse for the final time. Anthony Nogues after that. Well, he started on pole. It was a Mercedes 1-2 to start. It ends Mercedes and Sauber, but Reimer will take the win here in Monaco. Crossed the line, and actually at the end of it, an 0.8 of a second gap as he's done a wee bit of showboating there. But Johnny Damon, good effort there at the end to get back within at least visual range on Reimer. Nicely done. Merc will eventually come around the line third. Pontiac Bandit will be 4th. It'll be 5th for R. Manson, 6th for DWCJ, 7th for Curveball, and Bong, it appears to be, 8th for Agnote. Oh, goodness me, that was quite the dive there. I think, going to be losing positions with this 6-second penalty. It'll be Agnote 8th, and Bong it rounding up the grid in 9th. But thank you definitely, guys, for joining us here if you have. Be sure to join us next time out, once again, when we head to Imola for another edition of the CCRL Elite Tier, Wednesday Tier. Hotspot, it has been a pleasure joining you once again, and we'll see you next time.